What is moral development? Moral development is an idea that can be defined in infinitely different ways and at the same time can't be defined at all. How do we grow in respect to our maturity, age, and spirit? Is it constant? And what is defined as growth? I will attempt to put a perspective on this question. To start a path of moral development, you must first exist. It is from this existence that starts a slow-growing, exponential rate of mental development. However, one fact that must first be accepted is that moral development is different from all other developments in the way that it has no rate, and is completely reversible. It is certainly possible that on a particular day, an 8-year-old has a higher moral development than a man who has lived 60 years of age. It is also necessary to note that for the purpose of this documentation, we define good and bad purely off the feelings they present. The feeling itself cannot be defined, but the human reader instinctively knows what this is. The number one driving force for humans is the way they feel. People's actions are derived from their feelings. The feeling controls the action. These feelings always relate to a scale from bad to good. The measurement of this scale is exactly what was defined previously. It is not only how the emotion makes a person feel, but also what feelings are created from the actions derived from the emotion. There are two feelings in this world that are stronger and therefore control more than all others: fear and love. Both can drive people to do the same things, however they are on complete opposite sides of the scale. Do we choose to live out of fear of death, or do we choose to live out of love of life? That question can only be completely decided by the person. That decision changes everything ever in question when it comes to moral development. That is where moral development starts. On this coin there are two sides: choosing to feel and feeling to choose. Which comes first is the defining difference. The result is control or lack thereof. Most of us feel to choose. Our actions are derived from the way we feel. We are guilty of this when we choose to eat because we feel hungry. In this way, our feelings control our actions. It's a normal survival instinct. But what happens when our environment becomes abnormal? When the temporary pain becomes permanent? How does one choose to live? Or does one at all? As Viktor Frankl says in Man's Search for Meaning, when we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. These situations force us to flip the coin. The only thing left is the choice, although some never see this choice. This choice is to find happiness from the smallest of things, and ultimately from our very existence. The pain takes away our materialistic pleasure until we are left with only one thing to be happy about: our existence. With this newfound permanent pain comes a necessary expansion of our capacity for pleasure. What happens when the new permanent pain becomes temporary again? When the stretching of our capacity to be happy cannot be undone? Can we be fundamentally happy in a materialistic world? Do we need to go through a traumatic experience to find this fundamental happiness? Is it necessary? That is the true purpose of moral development. How close can we get to consistently keeping this fundamental happiness that only appears when we need it most? Love is the essential building block of this happiness. It is the pinnacle point of a positive feeling. When we reach this point of fundamental happiness, the expression we carry is purely and simply love for all things. In fact, although some don't realize it, heaven is a place we imagine where we are vastly surrounded by love. In The Brothers Karamazov, Dostoevsky expands on this idea with the evaluation of hell. Fathers and teachers, I ponder, what is hell? I maintain that it is the suffering of being unable to love. This inversely articulates with the idea of heaven being a place of pure love. There is much irony in the fact that many of us imagine that at the end of our life, at the end of our journey, we go to a place of highest moral development, when sometimes we spend all our life bearing this end in mind while completely oblivious to this journey. This displays an absence in the conscious connection between the two ideas. It is this end that keeps us sane. Without it, to many of us it would seem that our ultimate destination would be depression. This is expressed in the myth of Sisyphus. This story tells of a man who is banished by the gods to a place where he is doomed to push a rock up a hill indefinitely. The one concept that is unrelatable to any reader is this idea of living forever. We will never have any real grasp of how long forever is. The point of the punishment is the assumed fact that no soul can stay happy forever pushing a rock up a hill. What if we look at this story from a metaphorical perspective? Many agree that life itself is full of many trials and challenges. These challenges never stop until the day we die, the day it all stops. There is always something stressing our minds. This explains why many look to an end, a place of highest moral development. Though the challenges we have, we do find happiness. How? When we complete the last task for the day, is there not happiness in that? Camus describes Sisyphus' story, saying, "At each of those moments when he leaves the heights and gradually sinks towards the layers of the gods, he is superior to his fate." Camus puts a new perspective on the story, changing the fact that Sisyphus is supposed to be in a prison of pain with one idea: choice. Even with the inconceivable idea of infinite time, there is always choice. That is the defining idea of moral development. There is always a choice to choose love and find happiness, even if its source is merely our existence.